Welcome to today's video. Today we've got a fun one because we are out we are out shooting fall photos for the first time this year. That's not like a whole hike. We did that last week. Today we're driving around Muskoka and I want to talk about my fall photography, videography, content creation tips. And where we're off to today has about 50% fall foliage sort of color change. At least that's what the Ontario Fall Color Report says. So if you're looking to make photos and videos this fall, then my goal is to make this your sort of beginning resource to help you out with whatever it is that you're making for social media. Maybe it's personal reasons. I'm gonna cover it all. Whatever you need to make good content in the fall, we're talking about today. But first, we need to grab a photo of this spot right here before the light goes away. And then we're gonna do the most important part of today, which is getting some coffee, because I was up at 4:30 a.m. in order to get up here and I'm tired. So let's grab that shot and then we're gonna talk about the first part of fall content creation. Okay, so normally I'm a black coffee kind of guy, but Johnny Hawkshelter, if you know him on IG, put me on to these fake pumpkin spice lattes. Trust me, these things are good. I'm gonna put the screenshot up that I took from his story talking about the recipe for like how you should do this at Starbucks. These are actually good. So with that, let's get on the way. All right, so we made it to the first spot. And I'm not gonna lie, it looks like we got a bunch of decent fall colors. So that's pretty good. Now, the first tip I want to talk about today, and that's going to be lighting. Probably not news to you. You want to make most of your content during golden hour, whether that's fall content or not. So you obviously want sunrise, sunset, a little bit after those times, and that's going to give you the softest, nicest light available for whatever it is that you're making. However, in the fall, you get a hack, and that is that golden hour doesn't really take place when golden hour usually does, especially in northern places. During the fall and the winter, golden hour kind of extends throughout the whole day. You basically get this endless amount of time that the sun is fairly low in the sky, which is really exciting because that means you have softer, nicer light throughout the entire day, which means that you don't need to get up as early. If you really want. It's still gonna look best at golden hour, and this trail is very muddy. But yeah, overall, like, you don't need to worry too much about the lighting. You get to take advantage of it throughout the entire time. But my advice, still, maximize your golden hour. Don't be afraid to shoot at the other times of days. And so with that, let's get to our second photo spot of the day. So this location's a loud one. We got the rapids off to my left. I've put a few photos up on the screen probably by now. And the reason why we're here is because the most important thing you can do when you're out shooting your content in the fall is to bring something called a polarizer and to take advantage of filters. And that's why we're at this location, because moving water and water in general is perfect for using your filters and getting really unique content that you wouldn't otherwise be able to capture. Specifically, I hammer on this every video, but I absolutely love polarizers. They cut through polarized light in the sky and lead to a lot more punch in your images while cutting reflections. So it's perfect for really grabbing a lot more color in the fall colors that you see behind me. And also for the water, it allows us to see directly through and just lead to an overall higher quality image or video when you have your polarizer on. And it just works by turning your polarizer in quarter or half turns, depending on how much cut you want in your polarized light. And so that's why we're here today in this unbelievable spot. I've actually never come here in Algonquin Park and I'm absolutely loving it. So there are two photo spots here that I want to get at in addition to what I already got. One of them, I can't bring the camera along with me because it's a little bit dangerous. And then a couple other ones are just some detail shots along the way that I'm gonna capture and see what I'm able to share. Let's get on to it and see how much more we can capture. All right, so I did manage to grab some shots of the area that I thought I wouldn't be able to get. Hope you enjoy some of those because it's taken me half an hour to get a few photos. But I think the moral of the story is get your polarizer, because when the water's there, you're gonna wanna cut those reflections and get those pops of colors. This is a perfect example because the sky behind me was all blown out. And when I bracket, I want to get more color in the leaves since there's a lot more light coming due to the contrast of the dark area to the bright area. And then with that water, cutting the reflections, getting out those punchier photos, that's what the goal is. So now we're gonna head out, and I am so sweaty from all that climbing. I probably did that like 15 times to get what I wanted. All right, and the next thing we're doing, we're at a completely different trail now, is walking all the way down there. We are at Whiskey Rapids Trail because there are more rapids here. But first, we've got to get some reflection photos and talk about how to get creative in the fall. Okay, I'm absolutely gonna make a fool of myself here, but not that steep. All right, so one of your big goals in the fall should be getting reflections. And if you see in front of me, we've got the trees just sort of on the water here. And even though these are obviously coniferous trees with pine needles, there's no color change, I still want to grab the shot because it's kind of just telling of the story. And I also see a tree sticking out of the water. There's like one red tree behind. I don't know if you can see that here, hold on. Right all the way over there. And I thought it could lead to a cool photo because it kind of has like this contrast element of like that pop of red amongst all the green. So I'm gonna put that up on the screen and then we're gonna carry on. So why should you be hunting for reflections? Well, if I have any kind of favorite composition, I think it's reflections. And that's just because it's like something that a lot of people don't see. Maybe you see like a good lookout and you think to yourself, I'm gonna get this shot. There's a cool lookout over the water and let's just like get the photo or like create some video of it. But what you might not realize is that there is something reflecting in that water, or maybe it's like the roof of a car, or I don't know, anything. It can be anything, literally glass. It's a perspective that goes unnoticed a lot of the times. And so I just kind of always say, especially in the fall, you're probably out in nature. There's probably a lot of water. Look for those reflections. Something a lot of people don't actually realize is there. And then you're gonna get a more unique photo set and something that's just true to you because it's something that you noticed. Okay, the next trick, if you're struggling to make your reflection photos actually look interesting, is to add something in the foreground. Maybe it's a leaf, a branch, a rock, something to just grab visual interest and then make your photos look a little bit better. So I'll show you what I mean. So here in front of us, we've got a rock and we've got a lookout out in the front, and then these trees basically reflecting on the water in this area here with some nice rapids going out. You could make the photo very basic, just taking the shot as it is, landscape in front of you, or you could add that leaf in the front of the frame. And what this does is it helps draw your viewer's eye into your photo. So something's in the way almost, and you're like, what's past that? People are gonna pay more attention to it. So if you're taking self-portraits even, you can put yourself where you normally would, add something more visually interesting in frame, and that's gonna lead to a better photo. Especially if you're creating for social media, it's just another way to separate yourself. So with that, let's go to the next location. All right, so right now we got to Dorset, which is this little town just south of Algonquin Park. The last location was just packed with people. I think everybody's expecting there to be a lot more fall colors than there actually are. There's like patches. It's not bad, but it's not great for this time of year. Last year, there were definitely a lot more fall colors than there are right now. And so that takes me to the next part, or the next thing that I want to talk about when it comes to fall content creation, and that's paying attention to the fall color report. I knew full well coming into this trip today that the fall colors weren't going to be that spectacular. I knew that they were going to be starting, all because I checked one thing, and I mentioned it earlier, and that is the fall color report. Now, every jurisdiction should have a fall color report of their own, to basically report on every year. I'm using Ontario's, obviously, because that's where we're at. And basically what this does is takes the major municipalities and areas that are in whatever the jurisdiction is, state, province, etc., and then lists out what percentage the leaves have actually changed. And that's the best way to go about actually finding out the amount of fall colors that are available to you, where it is that you're currently wanting to explore. And I can honestly say that not a lot of people check that here, because there's probably a lot more tourists, it looks like, in this area than I'm used to seeing, to be honest, with this little amount of fall color showing. Because pretty much just south of Algonquin Park today is like hardly any fall colors, if I'm being honest. So they definitely didn't check their fall color report. Now, that being said, it's kind of put a little bit of a wrench in today's plans, because what I wanted to do was go to the top of the Dorset Lookout Tower next, and the lot's full. So I'm gonna put a photo up on the screen so you can see where we're gonna go next. Honestly, I'm not even bummed out because it's green. Like, this whole area is green. If you're outside of Algonquin Park right now, it's pretty much green, which means we gotta come back, which I'm not opposed to. Totally fine with me. But it also means we need to go somewhere a lot farther next, because I want to carry on today's video. And just make sure you're checking your fall color reports, because otherwise you might leave disappointed. And I have a funny feeling that's a lot of people here today. Made it to the last spot on today's drive, because we are running out of time before I need to head back home. And before we get to the final location, we need to quickly talk about 3 other photo compositions that are going to work for you in the fall. Because we talked about 2, we got a few more we need to run through. So composition 1 are leading lines. You've heard me probably talk about this a lot on my Instagram, but leading lines are a great way to get creative in the fall, especially on fall drives. And I'm gonna put a few examples that I've taken over the years up on the screen, because it allows you to basically just take a photo down the road and just really show off what the fall colors are around you. The second one that I really like are subframing elements. And in Arrowhead Park today, we actually have a really cool bridge that I love to take photos of that really subframes very nicely in the area. Why this works so well is because you have your fall colors surrounding a clear subject, and so this just really tells a nicer story in the fall. You can do that with you if you want to stand and take a photo of yourself, or pick something like I picked with this bridge. The third composition that I absolutely love to take is minimalism. Whether you get the top of some tree branches, or you figure out a way to just isolate a specific color in frame, those are just great ways to showcase the uniqueness of what's going on in the fall as you're making your content. And so behind me now, we are at an epic landscape location in Muskoka at Arrowhead Park, and that is the Big Bend Lookout. So we're gonna grab some photos of this and carry on with the next tip. So that is a very touristy lookout area. So we're gonna walk away and talk about the tip, which is to use a wide lens. So I'm gonna put one photo up that I took with a 24 to 70 millimeter lens at 24 millimeters. And then I'll show you the 16 millimeter variation. And you can see just how much more you can get in frame. And for epic fall locations, you obviously wanna make sure you can capture your environment fully and not be like cutting things off and cropping. So if you don't have a wide angled camera lens, definitely consider getting one. Another thing that I really love is my iPhone. So the 0.5 lens on your iPhone is phenomenal for getting those wide angled location shots that you might need. You don't really need an expensive lens if you have the new 16 Pro, if I'm being honest. I've tested 48 megapixel lens on that iPhone 16, and it is an absolute beast with the wide and the 1X. So definitely think about it if you want to upgrade and make sure you have that extra focal length, because when you come to locations like this in the fall, you're definitely not going to want to miss out. And so with that, that's going to wrap up today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. A lot of tips here for your fall content creation. If you have anything else that you're wondering about, or things that you want to see on the channel, comment down below, let me know what it is. But I hope that today's video can at least get you started in the right direction for things you need to be doing to get your fall content this year. So with that, I just want to say thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one.